Then in verse 22, we see the whole root of the problem. Verse 22 says he said the Spirit often throws him into the fire or into the water trying to kill him. Have mercy on us and help us if you can. That's the root of it. That's the root of it. The root of their problems came out when they said, help us if you can. Is that the kind of faith you got, if you can? Help me, Lord Jesus, if you can. Do it, Lord Jesus. What you mean, if you can? That right there shows that there's a weakness in your faith. There's a weak spot in your if you can. Do you realize this is the King of Kings, the Lord of the Lord, the creator of the earth? Tell that boy to get out there from bouncing that basketball and get his behind in this church. You might go out there and tell him he out there playing basketball. Tell him get his behind out there playing basketball and get in his church. If you can. What you mean, if you can? That was the root of the problem. They tried, but how you gonna preface it with if you can? That ain't faith. That's a sort of faith. That ain't the kind of faith that causes demons to flee in your life. No, if I can. What do you mean by that? In verse 23, Jesus responds, what you mean if I can? Man, I ain't proved yet. I done fed thousands. With 2 fish and 5 loaves. What you mean if you can? I done caused the lame to get up and walk. What you mean if I can? I done caused miracles in your life. What do you mean if I can? And Jesus asked the question, what do you mean if I can? That's what he says right there. What do you mean if I can? Jesus asked. Anything is possible to a person that believes. What are you talking about if he can, if God can do it? If God put it on your mind to do it and God told you to do it, all you got to do is put yourself in position, do what God called you to do, and wait on the manifestation of what God promised you. Ain't got nothing to do with if you can. I know life gets difficult and life gets tough, so life gets rough. Sometimes you wonder if you're able. I don't know about you if you can do it, but I do know that the God that you serve, that he will not put more on you than you can bear. Is there a witness in the house? Somebody say yeah. And unfortunately, so many believers are unaware that they are their own worst enemy. This man initially sought to lay blame on the disciples. I brought my son to your disciples and they couldn't do anything. And we try to find somebody else to lay blame on. Yes, the church should take accountability. The church should do the work that God has called the church to do. But you can't blame the church on your inability to get your child to act in a way that glorifies God. Is there a witness in the house? You can't blame the school. You can't blame anybody. You have to take personal accountability to do what your child needs done in order to set them up for success. Yes, we will be here. Yes, we do have a responsibility, but that does not cause you to neglect your responsibility. Is there a witness in the house? And in our communities, we have to own our responsibility. It's nobody else's responsibility for our child and our children to know how to act. Nobody else's responsibility for our children to respect the environment. When they see parents throwing McDonald's bags out the window, driving down the road as if nobody else lives there. It's your responsibility to teach your child how to love what God created, to teach your child how to walk in responsibility and respect. Is there a witness in the house? Somebody say yeah. Somebody say, yeah, we can be our own worst enemy. This man initially, he tried to lay blame at the feet of disciples' inability to help his son. But the real problem stared him in the face every time he looked in the mirror. And in verse 24, when Jesus replied to him, it says that the man cried out and said, I believe, but help me with my unbelief. That's the best confession that you can make. I believe in Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. I believe that he loves me, that he gave his life so I can live. But the reality is that my faith is not where it should be. And so God, in the same way that I asked you for protection, in the same way that I asked you for provision, in the same way that I asked you for healing, God, help me with my unbelief. Somebody say yeah. Somebody say yeah. And there's some of us in the house today. We got to stop looking around at who's at fault for the mess going on in our lives and look in the mirror and say, you know what? My faith is not what it should be, and I'm honest enough to own it, acknowledge it, but cry out to a God who's able and say, God, help me with me. I want to be a better husband, God. Help me with me. I want to be a better pastor, God, but help me with me. I want to be a better man, God, but help me with me. I can't look at anybody else, God. I stand before you, God, and say, I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour, I need thee. Is there anybody in the house that's like me that can admit, God, I need you, God, to help me with me? I ain't concerned about my neighbor. I ain't concerned about that person. But God, help me with me.